Welcome to this episode of Star Wars Declassified, where we look into different facts and stories revolving around the Star Wars canon universe and lore. This week we'll be going through the entire infantry and canon for the Rebel Alliance. The Alliance and the cells before it were born from the overall discontent within the Empire who wished for the Old Republic to be restored, and whose efforts were led by the renegade members in the Imperial Senate. As an underground movement, the Alliance never really had the same resources as the Empire, and had to work with what it had. Thus, its military was pretty limited compared to what the Empire had, but at the same time made it much more versatile. Starting off the basics is the Rebel Troopers, also known as Rebel Fleet Troopers. These were the standard Rebel soldiers. They often carried DH-17 and DL-18 blaster pistols, as well utilize the A-2080 blast rifle and or the DLT-19 if deployed as a heavy class. They also had several variants such as the Rebel Vanguards, Rebel Jetpack Troopers, Bantha Riders, and most specifically a Snow variant, whom were adapted to camouflage of snow and had gear that helped them survive in snowy conditions. Rebel Heavy Troopers were heavy class units equipped with a heavy blaster and were covered in a type of enhanced armor suit that, though providing a great deal of protection against enemy fire, was incredibly heavy, causing the troops to move slowly into battle. That's a lot of heavy. Rebel Officers were the main military officers of the Alliance. Officers were high-class military personnel who held various positions of responsibility, authority, and duty within the various cells of the Alliance. Most of the Rebel officers either had some Imperial military training prior to joining their alliance, or were Imperial officers before defecting. Two notable examples of Rebel officers were Crix Madine and Bran Durlin. Because of limited resources, Rebel pilots also at times saw action on the ground. Pilots of the Rebel Cell Phoenix Squadron most specifically also had to take part in ground assault missions because of their limited numbers. The pilots often carried DH-17 blaster pistols. Rebel Navy Troopers, or also known as Rebel Crewmen, were members of the rebellion who commonly crewed starships. They occasionally had backpacks of additional gear and took part in battle when needed. They most notably featured in the ground defense during the Battle of Adelon. They too carried DH-17 blaster pistols. Rebel Honor Guards were part of a division of the Rebel Army utilized to help escort and protect important Rebel leaders and senators during the Galactic Civil War. In battle, Rebel Honor Guards utilize a DH-17 blaster pistol in combat, and in some cases also use smart rockets. However, while on guard duty, Honor Guards usually use electropoles as seen on Yavin 4. Rebel Pathfinders, also known as Rebel Commandos, were elite soldiers of the Alliance Special Forces. They wore camouflage gear and used A-2080 blaster rifles. Unlike normal Rebel troopers, they were sent to worlds such as Endor, Sullust, and Scarif. Known to be cocky and arrogant in general, Pathfinders often took the rebellion more seriously than most ground troops, and disdained on those who shirked from duty. Pathfinders were required to pass training which consisted of 4 months of intense physical and mental training, which included learning the use of antique slug throwers, disarming proximity mines, and rappelling off a ray shield. Similar to the standard Rebel Troopers, the Rebel Pathfinders also had a variant in the Rebel Sharpshooters, also known as Rebel Marksmen, whom served as snipers for the Alliance in high-stake missions. They carried E-17 sniper rifles for their missions. Now, unlike the Empire, the Rebel Alliance welcomed all kinds of aliens to help fight to restore the Old Republic. While most aliens who joined the Rebel ranks were deployed in the standard Rebel unit types that the human rebels also fought as, some also had their own unit classes. The most popular example being the Wookie Warriors, whom were a special class of soldiers for the Rebel Alliance and were one of the most devoted soldiers in the entire Rebel army, due to the Imperial occupation of the Wookiee homeworld, Kashyyyk. They wore little to no armor and carried either a bowcaster rifle or Reich blades into battle, which provided a great deal of damage to enemy forces. Other examples also include Tal's Marauders, Dreslian Rebel Warriors, and Twi'lek Flamethrowers, all of which helped the Rebel army to fight the Empire and restore the Old Republic. And that's it for this episode of Star Wars Declassified. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a thumbs up down below, and if you're new around here, subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any future Star Wars content on this channel. May the Force be with you, always.